Stirling's famous landmark stands above the fields where William Wallace led his troops to victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge and tells the story of the patriot and martyr who became Scotland's national hero. This is the place where Wallace was said to have watched the gathering of the army of King Edward I of England just before the Battle of Stirling started in 1297. We can clearly see the Stirling Castle, the Church of Holyrood, and the old jail and other Stirling major attractions from this point, and you can clearly see the significance of this place at that time.
Yeah, so there's 3 floors of exhibitions. Take each one as you find it, and then you're not doing all the stairs in one go. It's a spiral staircase. Yeah. You can climb right up onto the top of the crown. So there's an outdoor platform just round here, and then you can get right up onto a seated area up at the top so you can get your views. So you can see them all the way around. With the staircase, it's very tight, so you can't really pass anybody on it. So anyone coming down has priority. But if you find yourselves coming out of the room and you hear or see anybody, just wait until they're past you.
Conquering the 246-step spiral staircase and exploring the Hall of Arms, the Hall of Heroes, and the Royal Chamber to discover the remarkable story of Sir William Wallace. So let's go and explore. Once we reach the top of the 220-feet tower, we will experience the breathtaking views in all directions from the crown. Visitors approach by foot from the base of the crag on which it stands. On entry, there are 246 steps to the final observation platform, with 3 exhibition rooms within the body of the tower. The tower is not accessible for disabled visitors. The tower was constructed following a fundraising campaign which accompanied a resurgence of Scottish national identity in the 19th century. The campaign was begun in Glasgow in 1851 by Rev. Charles Roger, who was joined by William Burns. Burns took sole charge from around 1855 following Roger's resignation. In addition to public subscriptions, it was partially funded by contribution from a number of foreign donors, including Italian national leader Giuseppe Garibaldi. The foundation stone was laid in 1861 by the Duke of Atholl in his role as Grand Master Mason of Scotland, with a short speech given by Sir Archibald Alison. It was completed in 1869 to the design of architect John Thomas Rothschild at a cost of £18,000. The monument is a 67-meter, 220-foot sandstone tower built in a Victorian Gothic style. The tower stands on the Abbey Craig, a volcanic crag above Cambus Kenneth Abbey, from which Wallace was said to have watched the gathering of the army of King Edward I of England just before the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297. The monument is open to general public. Visitors climb the 246-step spiral staircase to the viewing gallery inside the monument's crown, which provides expansive views of the Ochil Hill and the Forth Valley. The Hall of Arms is the first floor gallery inside the National Wallace Monument. Here you will separate the man from the myth and learn how William Wallace has been remembered over the centuries after his death. A short film on William's life is being played every 5 minutes with the option to watch it in 6 different languages. Other significant attractions in the hall is the Wallace sword, which supposedly belonged to Wallace, although some parts were made at least 160 years later, was held for many years in Dumbarton Castle and is now in the Wallace Monument. There are also 6 different portraits of William on display in this hall to show what William actually looked like. No portraits from William survive from his lifetime, but these images were created after his death, give an insight into his heroic status. The Hall of Heroes. From the first bust installed in 1886 through to the latest sculpture introduced in 2019, the Hall of Heroes tells the story of illustrious Scots who have followed in Wallace's footsteps and made their own mark on the history of Scotland. The idea of a hero has been taken beyond the traditional notion of brave freedom fighter to include heroes from a wide range of fields. There are a total of 18 busts in the Hall of Heroes, with additional displays sharing the story of 12 heroines who each have achieved greatness, often in the face of adversity. Busts were donated at different times, sometimes by subscription and at other times by a single donor. The most significant statue is the King Robert the Bruce, along with one of his 5 swords being on display here, which looks very similar to the sword of William Wallace with almost the same length. Allegedly, King Robert had 5 swords which are being displayed in 5 different locations across the country, including the one in Edinburgh Castle. The Royal Chamber is the 3rd floor gallery inside the National Wallace Monument. Here you will uncover some of the facts and figures behind the Battle of Stirling Bridge. We can see the weapons which would have been used by both armies and discover how the bloody and brutal battle was fought and won. You can also take a picture with one of the replica swords of William Wallace, which is on display for tourists to take pictures with. Historically, heraldic designs were used on coat of arms to easily identify friends from foe on the battlefield. You can also design your own coat of arms and get a picture of you holding it on your shield, ready for march into the battle. Since his death, Wallace has obtained an iconic status far beyond his homeland. He is the protagonist of Blind Harry's 15th century epic poem, The Wallace, and the subject of literary work of Jane Porter and Sir Walter Scott, and of the Academy Award winning film Braveheart. A well-known version of Wallace's life is presented in the film Braveheart in 1995, directed by and starring Mel Gibson as Wallace, written by Randall Wallace and filmed in Scotland and Ireland. The film was criticized for many historical inaccuracies. In 2018 film Outlaw King, Robert Bruce is prompted to plan a revolt against the English after observing rioting induced by the public display of a quartered body of Wallace. On reaching the top of famous spiral staircase, you will be rewarded with the panoramic views in all directions across Scotland's historic heartland. Look out over the landscape of the Forth Valley, which has witnessed so many important moments in the story of Scotland. It is one of the finest sights Scotland has to offer, from Benlymond and the Trossachs in the west and through the Forth Valley past the city of Stirling and the Ochil Hills to the Pentland Hills in the east. The panoramic display panel identify the site of the famous Battle of Stirling Bridge and highlight over prominent geographical features in the area. The top of this tower was built in a crown shape, which is beautifully designed, and by being here it gives you the feeling of being one of those grand locations of the movies like Game of Thrones. Exploring the world and sharing these exciting adventures with you is a passion of mine. Be a part of my passion by hitting the like button and share this video as much as possible. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future adventures. Take only memories, leave only footprints. See you next week with a new adventure. Ciao.